Hello, welcome to part 6 of the Emergent collaboration demonstration. The next thing that we'd like to take a look at is one of the concepts that we had when we originally started the project a number of months ago was influenced by the gaming environment. And that may sound sort of unusual as we're talking about a collaborative enterprise workspace or collaborative project, but what we really found was that the gaming environment brought us a number of very, very interesting things. First and foremost, it brought us a very rich user interface. The next thing that it brought us was an environment that was complete, holistic. It had all of the functionality that we needed to be able to communicate with other people, to be able to find information, to be able to build reputation, understand how people interacted. All of those things were always integrated within the system. They weren't thought as individual tools. They were there to help us enhance the experience we had. The next thing it provided for us is the system was dynamically keeping track of how we interacted with each other, and that was helping us build reputation. It was helping us build strength of relationship, and it was doing a number of different things in terms of how we could understand how people interacted, how people should be represented in the system, whether it was a level of expertise, a level of skill, the things that they had, the way that their actions had been accounted for in the system. And it got us thinking, if we could incorporate a lot of those things into our platform, we would have a much richer platform. And a lot of those concepts apply to not only a gaming environment where you're trying to solve a well-defined task, which might be to slay a dragon or something, but that task concept and all of the things that went around it could be applied to any task on a business level. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we've tried to incorporate some of those things, as well as how we've taken a look at trying to use a rich environment as yet another way to build a collaborative environment. So, for example, we've been through this this web user interface quite a bit. Let's take a look at how this might be represented in a three-dimensional environment. So we're in the core team space here, over in 2 dimensions. Let's look and see how that might be represented in 3 dimensions. We could take a look at here, and this is from a platform, a 3-dimensional virtual world platform partner that we use that's called Proton Media. Their platform's called Protosphere. And you'll see a lot of the things are very similar. I create a working environment that I feel comfortable in. In this case, we've represented it as a large room with a number of chairs around a desk, something that we do on a regular basis. All the information that's presented to us in here visually is going to be identical to what we see in the other environment. So we've got people that we can interact with, team members that are in there. We can see their status. We can click on them and be able to click to any sort of interaction with them. The other thing that we'll see is we'll see all of the recommended content that we were seeing in that other environment is represented here as recommended content, as well as if we look over here, all of the documents that were present in the room or have been made permanent by people are also represented here. So trying to create a very similar environment regardless of what the user feels comfortable with. The user feels comfortable using a browser-based tool, great. The user maybe is a Gen Y or a millennial or somebody who in their non-work environment enjoys playing games, which is a growing population. We can represent that in 3 dimensions. Now, one of the other things that we're able to do, which is very, very interesting, and we can't do in a purely web-based environment, is the ability to know how, where are other people. So, for example, if I was strictly in here, yes, I can see that Doug Walker's here. But, for example, if Doug was on a mobile device, for example, I may not be able to know where he is or what he's interacting with. Right? I'm just simply going to know that he's there. As we get into richer environments, richer user interface environments, for example, I can see that Doug's represented here in this room. Now he's not logged in to this 3-dimensional space, and I know that because he's only showing up as a voice as opposed to what would be represented as Proton Media or Protosphere, which means I can interact with him in here. But I now quickly know, okay, Doug is in here, he is in the space where recommended content is, and if I'm only walking into the 3-dimensional space, I may quickly go, oh, well, Doug's in there, he's on voice, so I need to just jump down here into the voice portion, which is synchronized with the voice bridge that runs across my 2-dimensional world, and Doug and I can speak, and we can interact, and we're doing this in the medium that we both feel comfortable in. right? So in this case, I'm logged into the three-dimensional world, Doug's only logged into the two-dimensional world, but yet we can both interact in that medium that we feel comfortable with, and we're both going to be experiencing it through a manner where we're both getting dynamic content recommended to us. We can both interact with that content, as well as being able to interact with the people that are around us, either in the project or in the space at that point in time. The other things that we start to get in a three-dimensional environment, and again, we're just trying to show this as yet another rich user experience, user interface, is the things that are unique to three-dimensional environments. The ability to have richer, more frictionless meetings. The ability to have very rich or user created or project-specific representations of how we want to see that information. So if we want to feel comfortable in a room like this, where it looks very much like our work environment, that's fine. If we say, hey, we're a group that's looking to do some more free thinking, maybe we want to move to an environment that is a little bit different. So we hear people say all the time, hey, I'd love to go and work outside today. Well, there you go. We're now working outside. And we can come over here and sit on a park bench. We can come over here and walk amongst the grass, and that may make me feel more comfortable in how I do my collaboration. So the ability to create any sort of environment I want to is part of what makes a three-dimensional piece interesting. But what's really interesting about how this relates to our project is, as you see, we've created the ability to essentially separate or abstract the user interface, whether it's a two-dimensional user interface or a three-dimensional user interface, from the information.